Do you feel like going into hibernation as the temperature drops?
No need to though, because in this video, we're going to share some winter riding tips with you to make it more enjoyable, but mainly possible. If you haven't already done so, click on the notification bell. That way you get a notification every time we make a new upload.
Right, let's start off with preparing for those wintry rides.
Now is the time to dig out your winter steed, or if you don't have one of those, winterize your current ride. And we think a good place to start is with your current tyres. I've replaced those for a slightly wider tyre, aiming for something around a 28mm, as you can run these at a lower pressure, which affords you a little bit more comfort and a tiny bit more grip as well. And if you can, go for something with a little more grooving in the tread. This will help shed water on those wetter surfaces and give you a bit more confidence in the corners. Once you get your tyres sorted, the next place we would look at is adding some heavier lube, some wet weather lube to your chain. Don't apply so much that it becomes a black goopy mess, but make sure you top it up regularly to stop it from squeaking. You can even address the bearings in your bottom bracket with a little heavier grease, and possibly even spray your jockey wheels as well. When I say spray your jockey wheels, I mean some sort of spray grease. Now, they're not on my bike at the moment because it's actually not wet today, but we recommend adding some clip-on mudguards to prevent the spray from soaking your bum or the rider behind you. And then finally, the last thing I would address would be your lights, although you should probably be running those all the time these days because it's proven to make you more visible. Think about a solid light for when it's dark and a flashing light if it's legal where you live for in the daytime. This will help you be much more visible to other road users.
Once your bike's fully prepped, it's now worth thinking about your clothing. First of all, start with a base layer. Go for a base layer that works for you. There's so many out there, but make sure you choose the right one. Then some bib tights. I've gone for some thermal ones, and they're good for even minus numbers in degrees. Then a long sleeve thermal layer. Really good for keeping the cold weather out and the warmth in. A gilet, perfect, because you can take it off and on really easily, and it fits in nicely into your back pocket. Capes, always worth taking. Even if the weather looks dry, it'll keep you warm on those descents, but now it's raining, yeah, it's absolutely perfect. Neck warmer. I use these all the time, and it really helps with keeping nice and warm. Hat and gloves, really important because a lot of your heat is lost out of your head and your hands. It's worth thinking about your safety as well. So getting a helmet that fits over your hat is really important. And then your bike. After all, you can't go riding without that.
James, I keep on telling you, zip it.
It's so easy to look outside, see the weather like this and go, I don't fancy it. But if you're prepared and you've got the right kit, then this weather won't hamper you. One thing I will say though, is make sure you've got the right kit for the temperature you'll be riding in. Bit wet this, but the smile is still on my face.
It's pretty hard to argue that riding in the rain is miserable, but there are a few nice days in the winter, and you have to make the most of every opportunity you can get to enjoy a little bit of sunshine. So, aiming for a midweek ride really should be high up on your priorities. I know it's difficult with a working week, but if you can get out in your lunch hour, or maybe even just half an hour before work, you'll feel much better for it. That's completely understandable, but that's not that easy. So you may need to aim for the weekends. And if that is the case, don't let those 2 days slip by without getting out for a ride. Use your local club or local group ride as an extra goal and motivate it in the weekends to get out and enjoy some company with other riders. And if your time constraints mean the only time of the week you can get out is the weekend and the weather is bad, then just embrace the bad weather. I mean, it's only going to last a little while, and once you've done it, you'll have a great sense of achievement. One final trick that I know James used to use when he was training was to find a cafe at the furthest point away from home and aim for it. He wouldn't start riding until he got to the cafe, have a quick coffee, turn around, and then had no choice but to ride all the way home. It could work for some.
Don't neglect the coffee stop. I think it's my best part of my ride, is getting to a cafe, having a nice brew and a cake, and enjoying time with my friends. I mean, all of them. And it's a good time to, well, get away from that cold, dreary, dark weather. Another good way to enjoy a wintry ride is getting rid of your computer. Going out on a ride with no numbers, no constraints, no efforts, and no intervals. Just going out and enjoying it. Have an adventure. After all, that's what what cycling's all about. Right, I reckon it's time I get back in that wet weather.
But if you really can't stomach the winter conditions and you're in a position to do so, there may be only one thing left to do. That's to plan a winter getaway. Not only would it give you something to aim for in the middle of winter, something to train for, but it's also something to break up the monotony of what can be a long few months. As much as I love the filthy, wet, freezing temperatures, I feel like I'd be much happier if I was somewhere warm and dry.
Oh, just imagine sunny roads, warmer climate. Oh.
Not only is a midwinter break a great target to build your training towards in the middle of winter, it's also a perfect opportunity to up your volume and have some enjoyable training in some much better weather.
Maybe even get a tan.
If you've got some winter riding tips that you would like to share with us, drop them down in the comments box below. And for another winter riding video, click just down there right now.
And don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up!